All right. Yesterday we learned how to simplify radicals, and today we're going to keep going on with that process, only today you might notice that we have numbers in front of our square roots. All right. The process is still the same though, so let's talk about those here in just a second. We're going to start with the first one here. Okay. So we look and we see that 12 is not a perfect square, so we start by making a factor tree. All right. Two factors of 12, I'm going to use 4 and 3. All right, and remember, circle the numbers if they're prime. In other words, if the only branches would be 1 and the number again, we do not want that. Okay, so circle the number if they're prime. Now 4, we can keep going, and we're going to have 2 and 2, and both of those 2's are prime. Okay, now my next step is going to be rewrite this with my prime numbers, right? My prime factorization. So 2 was already in the front. And now my prime numbers, we had a 2 and a 2 and a 3, right? That's just another way to write 12, 2 times 2 times 3. We have a cool phrase that we use to remember how to do this. We say we got to have a date to leave the house. In other words, we're looking for pairs. So in this case, I have a pair of 2's. So the 2's get to leave. They get to be written on the outside, and they're not on the inside any longer. The key here is remembering that whatever is outside gets multiplied together out there. So my final answer for this would be 4 square roots of 3. Okay, now let's talk about how to quickly check these answers. All right, so I'm going to highlight my original problem, and I want you guys in your calculator to go ahead and type that in there. So 2 square root of 12, and we see that we get this crazy decimal, right? And then we're going to type in our simplified answer that we just got, which was 4 square root of 3. And look at that one. Okay, do we see how these decimals are matching? It's a really good indication that you probably did that simplification correctly. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and let's move on to example B. All right, in example B, we're starting with 27. Again, we know 27 is not a perfect square. So we make a factor tree. All right, factors for 27. Let's see, I can do 3 times 9. Okay, 3 is prime, but 9, I can do 3 times 3. And those are also prime. Okay, so no more branches to make. I'm finished. Let's remember that I had the 4 out front already. It was just given to me. And we're going to write the prime numbers on the inside. So the 3 and the 3 and the 3. Okay, remember you're looking for pairs of numbers. Got to have a date to leave the house. So my 3's get to leave, write it outside one time. And then these two numbers on the outside get multiplied together. All right, so we are multiplying these together, and we get 12 square root of 3, right? This 3 was left over. It stays in the radical, and it's part of our final answer. So 12 square root of 3. One more time, just to make sure we understand, let's check our answer. We're going to type in our original and our simplified version in our calculator. All right, so let's start with the original. 4 square root of 27 gives us 20 point something. Now we're going to do 12 square root of 3, and we see that we get the same decimal. Okay. I'm going to leave the next 3 problems as practice. So over on the right, since we're using Edpuzzle, these 3 problems are going to pop up, and I need for you guys to answer those as best you can over there on the right. Okay, example 2, here we go. These just involve a little bit more work, but it's the same process. So 32, not a perfect square. We go ahead and we make our factor tree. Now remember, y'all, the 2 was given to me. I'm not worried about that right now. So for 32, I'm going to do 16 times 2. I'm going to circle 2 because it's prime. I'm going to keep working on the 16. Okay, 16, let's do 8 times 2. And for 8, let's do 4 times 2. And then for 4, we got 2 times 2. Okay, that is a lot of 2's. Let's write what we had for our original. Right, we had the 2 out front. And then we have a whole bunch of 2's going inside. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now we're looking for pairs of numbers, right? Got to have a date to leave the house. Pair of 2's here. We got another pair of 2's that can leave. Okay, we got a 2 left over. All right, so on the, oops, I brought out 2 of those. Okay, so all of these outside are going to be multiplied together. So 2 times 2 times 2. That's going to give me 8. And on the inside, I had this one that was unused, has to stay home, just stays in the box. Okay, now I'm going to quickly check my answers in my calculator. Got 8 square root of 2 should match 2 square root of 32. Here we go. All right, 2, oops, that's not what I want. All right, so we've got 2 square root of 32, and this decimal is 11 point something, and I'm going to check my 8 square root of 2, and we also get 11 point something. Awesome. Okay, last example. Again, the process is the same, but these are just kind of getting a little bit longer here. All right, 108. If you know your times tables, you would recognize that number. Or we can just cut it in half. That's another easy way. I can do 2 and 54. Okay. 54 is also even, so I can keep going. How about 2 and 27? Okay, keep going on 27. We've got 3 times 9. And 9 we have 3 times 3. Okay, so we're done. We found all our prime numbers. All right. Don't forget that 4 was given to me. Just going to keep it in my answer. I'm going to write all the prime numbers inside. So we had 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. All right, same process. Find pairs, right? You got to have a date to leave the house. Got a pair of 2's here. Good. We got a pair of 3's also this time. And we've got a 3 left over that has to stay. Okay, now don't forget that those numbers we pulled out, including the 4 that was already there, all of these get multiplied together. So 3 times 2 is 6, times 4 gives me 24 on the outside, square root of 3 on the inside. And that is my simplified answer. Okay, last problem to check. Let's try the original. 4 square root of 28. Here we go. Sorry, of 108, not 28. 4 square root of 108, and I get 41 point something. And now 24 square root of 3, my simplified answer I just found. And again, my decimals are matching. Okay? Okay, just like earlier, right, in your Edpuzzle practice over on the right, you guys are now going to be presented with these 3 problems. Feel free to use this white space here to do your work and click on the right answer over there on the right.